Hello and welcome to another episode of Marginal Support, where support is anything but marginal. I am your host, Andre Lindy, and today I am honored to have someone who I met with in a kind of interesting way on the show, Courtney. Let me know if I'm saying this wrong. Courtney Watkins, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so the way Courtney and I met was actually kind of interesting. I applied through a job, and Courtney's system actually picked it up by mistake, I believe, through some scraping and whatnot. And then we got to talking, and I actually got really excited about his platform, what it was going for, what he was doing, and I just wanted to learn more about it. So that's why we stayed in contact. So you could add some more color to that if you want, Courtney. But thanks for being part of my show today.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we were doing some testing with our AI system, and we were posting some jobs so that we could teach our AI how to, at that time, search for jobs on job boards and then pull out the information and then apply to those jobs. And the ATS system that we were using at the time had an integration with LinkedIn. It pushed the jobs out there. The jobs were seen by a lot of people, and then people end up applying. And you were one of them, and I was horrified, and had to email everyone to let them know what was going on, apologize for the mistake, and see if there was anything I could offer in support of that.
Well, now that you mentioned it, what is this platform you're working on? What's the name? What's the goal of it? I mean, obviously, I got excited, so I want other people to get excited about it also. So.
Yeah, yeah. So we're building Work AI, and essentially the vision for it is the future of work in terms of career OS, but essentially taking the tools and the systems that we built for HR teams, which is what my background is in, and flipping that and giving that to people, to professionals. We don't need another ATS system. We don't need another job board for recruiters to find talent. We need, I think, in this future of work that we're building, more ways for talent to be able to find opportunities. And once they have those opportunities, how can they guarantee and future proof their career, and using AI to help them and amplify their abilities as instead of replacing them, which it seems like on the business side of things, they're using AI to do. So we're trying to be the counter to that. The first product in this sort of suite of agents that we're building is Allie. The way that we envision Allie is that she's your agentic AI that learns as much about you and your job experience and your goals and endeavors, and she's your companion over the lifetime of your career. She starts out by finding opportunities that fit your skill set and what you're looking for. She then grows to connect with your network, keep your network warm so that you can leverage those for referrals and opportunities in the future, to eventually being able to make insights and suggestions for skill advancement. If we're pulling information knowing that this particular job market or career field that you're in is shrinking over time, because we get these reports from BLS, Ali is then able to identify, hey, you have this skill set. These are some adjacent skills and industries where we think you could start your career or skill advancement and future proof your career in that way. And then that product is what we're really excited about. It's coming out next year. How do you not only identify the skill gaps you have, but then gain those skills in a meaningful way that then allows you to validate them in a way that when recruiters and HR teams are looking for talent, we don't have to go through this whole let's post a job, let's go through a 6 week interview process with multiple rounds, with case studies and assessments and all of that. We're trying to build a future of work to where, imagine you go to someone's professional profile, you already know immediately what they can do because it's proven and validated in our system with our AI, and we can skip hopefully this entire interview process. And that's essentially the future we're building for.
And that sounds honestly amazing. A couple insights from that. What I'm picking up is that Allie's gonna be basically your recruiter, your cheerleader, your mentor, your coach, your teacher. Everything's kind of gonna be wrapped all together. I think that's really important for people that, I mean, you look at the current systems right now, and it's basically you're just throwing darts basically, and you're hoping something lands. And even with referrals nowadays, referrals don't hold the same weight that they used to hold. So one thing I wanted quickly mention is, most people when they watch the show, they're like, okay, this is about support. Usually people working support jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to touch on why I think what you're doing is actually support.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'm going to fit this into my narrative here is that you're helping people support their career growth. You're helping support, okay, they have skills A, B, and C right now, but really further themselves, they need maybe X, Y, Z. And that's why I think what you're doing to help support career growth. I mean, you can tell me, am I off base, or
Yeah.
is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, no, that's exactly where we're going. Dia, fundamentally for me, as a former recruiter, HR person, the reason I even got into HR was because I remember being 2021, entering into the workforce and having all these questions. Why does work have to be like this? Why do I see people begrudgingly coming to the office on Monday? Why are we the place we spend the majority of our time? Why is it not more enjoyable, supportive, especially given that we spend a large amount of our time there? That's why I got into HR to hopefully make that better, only to realize that we're really just there to support the company, not really to advocate for the employees as much. Allie is our opportunity to do that. What we want to build for in this future is this AI, this agentic AI that knows as much about you to be your right hand to really build a future of work that's human centered and people first and give them the tools in order to, again, future proof their career, identify opportunities way ahead of time. Imagine if this was 2015, 2016, and we didn't know about the public didn't know about ChatGPT yet. Not that it wasn't being worked on. If you were in those circles, you would have known. And those first careers that started to, that are in the process now of being automated away, one being recruiters, Allie could have identified that, hey, this market is shrinking. This is what's happening in the future. Let's find you different career paths and skills, and let's find a way for you to gain that experience now. So when your market shrinks and new opportunities in other areas come available, you've already proven 1, 2, 3 years of experience using this skill set. That's what we're trying to build for, because it doesn't benefit you to go take Coursera courses or Udemy courses or anything like that, because at the end of the day, recruiters can't substitute education really for experience. This is why you see entry level jobs that now require 3, 4, 5 years of experience, and they're supposed to be entry level. It makes no sense, because the certificate, education, license really doesn't mean anything if the experience is not there. So the real goal of Allie is to go from this sort of job searching AI buddy to then going to this autonomous networking savant that's identifying people in your network, people you should speak to, people you should connect with, to grow your network in an organic way, so that you can leverage that for opportunities to eventually then become and connect all three of those together with this skill development in a collaborative sort of way to allow you to build skills and then acquire them, validate them, so that anyone who, like I said, goes to your profile knows exactly what you can do, and hopefully that helps you get hired more easily, or even find ways to monetize your skill set independently of a company, because that, in my opinion, we can't control what companies are going to do in terms of their hiring, but what we can control is how is removing any barriers to you being able to advance your skill set and advance your career. Because if you don't have a job, or if you do have a job, your company is not investing in learning and development, you're stagnant. There's really no way right now outside of a company that you can truly own your advancement and your skill set, because you need a team, you need projects, you need people to work with. We're trying to substitute that and replace it with something better, that it doesn't matter if you're employed or who you're employed with, your ability to advance yourself is the sky's limit, so to speak.
That's super fascinating what you just said there about the creating opportunities for yourself. And I didn't even thought that was a capability of this right here. Where I mean, it goes in line with you just talking about finding your skill sets and finding what you're good at. And I think if you can have a tool that says, in this market right now, I see that there are these potentials lining up, and then I see that you have these skill sets, you should try to go this route. I mean, you, as yourself know, since you're starting your own company, that can be really difficult.
Yeah.
But if you have something that's nudging you and saying, maybe you should look for other people inside your network, that you have this little piece of what's needed and these people have this other piece, maybe you should sync up and talk about a potential collaboration. That I think would be mind blowing personally.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And it's all about what internally we call, using AI to amplify, not replace. There are so many agents and tools coming out to somehow erase or minimize the human to human contact connection, and that I think is a mistake. I understand why those are, it's sort of low hanging fruit, like, oh, let's automate this, let's automate that. There's pieces of automation that requires that human to human contact, similar to what you just said. Once you're able to identify the skills that you need, and this is what our platform is going to do. So let's say, for example, you're a project manager. On our platform, you can build out your skill tree and your career map. Let's say you're a senior project manager now. Eventually, maybe you want to become chief product officer. You want to move from project into product. We can identify all the skills and competencies that you need at each different level, because every HR team and every company level sets their roles for compensation purposes. So we can tell you that what the difference between a senior project manager and a principal project manager is, for example. Once we identify what those missing skills are, we then go into our third product, Sandbox, that allows you to then be matched with other people on projects that they're building in real time, and each person has skills that they're contributing to. The exact same way that you would at work. So it could be build an AI-powered version of the Uber Eats app, for example. You need a UX designer, you need a backend engineer, you need a project manager, etc. Each person has 2 or 3 skills that they're demonstrating and having to utilize on this collective collaborative project in order to complete it. So individually you have requirements, as a group you have requirements, you then build it out. But where Allie comes in is that she's analyzing how well each person demonstrates that skill set. So not only are you learning it in real time the same way you would at work, but we're using Allie to then say, we know how efficient the data pipelines were. We know how often the Scrum Master removed impediments from the team. We know from a support perspective, what the NPS scores and how users rated their interaction with using the product, etc. Using AI to then make it easier for people to collaborate, easier to communicate, and amplify their collective abilities, as opposed to replacing those interactions.
I mean, what it sounds like, what you're talking about here is instead of just taking courses and saying, hey, look, everyone, I earned the certificate, you should be proud of me.
Yeah.
You can say, here's my portfolio that I built within work with the help of Allie.
Yep.
So now I'm proving that I've actually done some of this work. It may have not been at a company, but
Right.
here is demonstrated work that I have done. That anyone else can then say, yes, I can see that you've done this work.
Right.
And I think that's going back to the beginning of our conversation. It's more about demonstrating proficiencies
Yes.
instead of just demonstrating knowledge acquired,
Exactly.
which I feel right now in this market is everyone's judging you off your proficiencies instead of
Mhm.
your knowledge.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it's always been about. If we think about the STAR format of interviewing, case studies, the assessments, all of what they're trying to do is to avoid a what they call HR teams call a bad hire. And the way to avoid that is to use past experience, ask certain questions in a certain type of way that will give you the ability to predict how well this person is going to perform in this job within your company, which is all valid. I understand why they're doing that. The problem is the average time to hire, even with that method for most jobs, is going to be anywhere from 45 days to 90 days, depending on what the job is and how complicated or complex the skill set is, which is inefficient. There's multiple rounds, there's panels, there's all these things. Once we have this built, what we're going to then do is to open up the platform to recruiters and HR teams. They're going to then be able to use their version or our version of Alley for them, which allows them to upload job descriptions, upload the hiring manager recruiter intake, where the hiring manager recruiter go into more detail about what this role is expected to, for example, own in the next 12 months. They're able to upload that into Alley. Alley then sources through the entire skill repository that we have from our user database, and then be able to immediately recommend people based on what the company is saying they require for this role to do. Ali then takes that and says, "Oh, you need someone to do XYZ and grow this by X% within this time frame. We recommend these 10 people. They've already done 6 projects collaboratively with these other people, and this is how well they demonstrated it." So we can skip again proving the experience and get to, are we a good fit for each other as an employee and as a company? Is this a good culture fit for me? Is this a company that I want to work for? And then go again beyond the what are we doing, what are we executing on, how well you can do it, to are we a good fit for each other, and skip past all of the other stuff. That's what I think we should be using AI and technology for, not skipping, like I said, the human to human interaction.
I mean, personally, I'm excited. I'll just say that I think this is going to be once you get this up and running. I think people are going to notice. I, I hate to use this word because it's so cliche, but I think you could be a disruptor in this space.
Hope so.
Um, but I want to be conscious of everyone's time here. So, Courtney, thanks for coming on Marginal Support. Thanks for speaking with me. I want to remind everyone that support is not just a job. Support is a mindset. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.